It's your girl K650 Credit, and we are back with another amazing video. And I'm going to tell you guys how I actually made 100K by an accident. So before we go, like, subscribe, tell a friend, and let's get in the video. So how did I make 100K by accident? Well, I accidentally flipped a property that I had no intentions on flipping. So here's what happened. I fell in love with real estate probably at the age of 8. My dad was and still is very big into real estate. And a big part of my childhood was actually learning the business of real estate. So when I tell you guys, nothing has been handed to me in my life. My dad is well off, right? But he made it very clear that his fortune was not ours. And we were going to work for everything that we wanted. And because of these valuable lessons, it has helped me tremendously in my world of an entrepreneur and in my world of life. So growing up in real estate, I learned a few things. And if you're a parent, I want you guys to realize that what you teach your kids early on, I'm telling you, it has a direct impact of them when they get older. I am 29 and I still remember the lessons that I learned when I was 8 all the way to about 14 when I can make the decision if I want to go hang out with dad at that time. So as a parent, and when I get to become a parent, I know that a critical time in my life was between the ages of 8 and 14. And those times have literally transpired or translated into who I am today at the age of 29. My dad instilled a couple different things in me. He instilled hard work, he instilled work ethic, and he instilled nothing was going to be handed to me. And when I tell you hard work, I was mowing lawns, paving driveways, and freaking sweeping stairs at 8 for his real estate properties. When I tell you guys that he instilled work ethic, because there was not a time I didn't see him working. My dad always worked, and it probably was one of the biggest complaints I had in my childhood because he was always working. But with that work also came with great rewards, and I now understand that as I get older. And nothing was handed to me. When I tell you nothing, I had to work for chicken nuggets. If I wanted to get a new backpack for school, I had to work for that. If I wanted a new pair of earrings from the mall, I was working for that. So when I tell you guys that a critical time in my life between 8 and 14 was real, it was. Because all those things, the work ethic, the time management, all those things now translate in how I'm able to effectively run a business and how I was able to effectively run real estate. So I said all that to say because I wanted to understand how I started this journey into real estate. So in 2018, I decided and I made up in my mind that I wanted to buy my first property. So with that being said, I had bad credit. So I had to fix that first. And I'll tell you guys another video how I basically fixed my credit and got it to where I needed to be. But when I turned 26, I was able to finally buy my first real estate property. And with buying a first investment property, and with buying the property, I bought a multi-family, 3-family home for about $150,000 before the pandemic. I didn't know a pandemic was coming. I don't think any of us knew a pandemic was coming. But what happened was I had all the intentions to keep the property, right? I wanted to rent it out and I wanted to make money on the passive income side. But because the pandemic happened, that didn't work out to my favor. I actually started losing money because of the pandemic because I wasn't able to collect rent. I wasn't able to rent the property out, the contract. It was so much stuff that was happening due to the pandemic. So I kind of felt a little stuck. I felt like, what did I get myself into? And I will tell you guys that I spent my last dollar buying this property. So with spending my last dollar with this property, I had no wiggle room for anything. I didn't have any wiggle room for somebody not paying their bills. I didn't have the wiggle room for any of it. And I'll tell you guys this before we go, is that whenever you do something, make sure you have a reserve. Make sure you have a backup fund for if this issue don't go right, right? If this doesn't go right, how can I get myself out of it? And I learned that so many times in real estate, Airbnb. I'm almost certain that I probably will never make that mistake again because it happened to me twice, and I found myself in holes multiple times due to the fact that I just didn't have any cash reserve, right? So, but every single situation I've been in, I learned a lesson, and some have turned out amazing for me, and some I'm still learning the lesson, right? So in this particular situation, not having any cash reserve, buying a house right before the pandemic, all the things that probably would make somebody give up happened. But the market started to increase. So when I tell you I started seeing things fly off the shelf, people were buying properties well over asking price, all this type of stuff. So this is when the pivot started. And I want you guys to take this note and write this down. Whenever adversity happens, whenever things are not going well, how do you pivot? What do you do when things don't seem like they're going right? Do you panic? Do you stress yourself out? Do you sit and cry in a ball, or do you think, how we're going to get out of this? How am I going to pivot? And I'm telling you, what I've learned about entrepreneurship and what I've learned about wealth, and as I study people who have made massive money in their industry, is that they know how to pivot. Giving up is never an option, but when pivot happens, the money starts rolling in. So are you somebody that's going to give up when it gets hard, or are you going to pivot? And if you're going to pivot, I'm telling you that you too can make 100 grand by accident. So in my pivoting journey, I sat down with my realtor. He said, look, okay, I know you're going through a hard time. Rent is not coming in as you would like it, all this stuff. But if you finish your renovations, right, if you use the money that the government has given you, because I got laid off from work, right? So I was making more money than I've ever seen before due to unemployment. So he said, if you start investing all this money you're getting unemployment to fixing the rest of the house, you can flip it. Light bulb. I said, well, how much can I flip it for? He said, you could sell it for like $275,000. I said, you're telling me that a house that cost me $150,000, I can sell for almost $300,000. He said, yes, but you have to put about $20,000 into it to fix it. Cool. I had the $20,000 because I was now on unemployment, so I was getting more money than I've ever seen before. And I also brought this property with my ex-boyfriend at the time. So we put our brains and our money together. And that's what also is an extreme point I want you guys to understand, is that choose your partner wisely, because a lot of times you never know what two people can do in a business. And without him, I probably wouldn't be able to even tell you guys that I made 100 grand by accident. So us using our money together, right? Not being stingy, taking my unemployment money, taking his barbershop money, we were able to do all the renovations in the house, and we put it on the market, and the house sold in 30 days. And because we pivot, we didn't get emotional, we didn't get upset, we weren't pissed off that, oh, we're not getting the rent we want and all this other stuff, we got to evict our first tenant, all the stuff you can think happened. All we did was put our money together, put our heads together, and we pivot. And that pivot was allowed us to sell our house at $275,000. And that's how we made the 100K flip by an accident. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.